All right, good morning. For the record, I'm Chris Young, Chair of the HDC's SAC. Let's confirm access. Members, please respond with an aye when I call your name. Paul Wolf.
Aye.
Kevin Kuster.
Aye.
And for staff, we have Esmeralda Martinez.
Present, and Mr. Chairman, for the record,
Yes.
Ben just joined in.
Oh, okay. And for members, we have Ben Norman.
Aye.
Great. This open meeting of the HDC's SAC is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020. The order posted with the agenda materials for the meeting allows public bodies to convene remotely so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. The meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording, which will be available on the town's YouTube channel. We will feature public comment. Materials provided to members for the meeting or provided during the meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on the town's website. During the meeting, I'll introduce agenda topics and speakers. Please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name is called and direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and the taking of minutes easier. Votes will be conducted by a roll call. Let's move on and call the meeting to order at 9:05 on May 9th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda?
So move.
Second.
Thanks, Ben. Are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Kevin?
Aye.
Great, thank you. And we had minutes from the last meeting sent by Billy. Any comments or motions?
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Kevin.
Second.
Thanks, Paul. Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul,
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Is anybody on for public comment that isn't related to an application or the preliminary review? All right, seeing none. Do we have any commissioners' comments that would like to be made? And seeing none, we'll go to new business. 12 Straight Wharf, and we have a sign here in Nantucket.
Yes, so this is old
Representing.
business.
Great.
This is old.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's under our new business heading, but we have seen this application before. So you've brought in the master sign plan and wall sign revised based on our previous meeting.
So yeah, so it's also a projecting sign, not a wall sign, and the master sign plan's just updated based on the feedback from the last meeting. So
Okay, great. So basically there's going to be 3 signs on the building, the existing Thomas
Correct.
Macy, the existing sign number 2, and you're proposing sign number 3 in the next application.
that's correct.
So, okay. Opening it up to commissioner comments for the master sign plan. We'll go let's see, Kevin, Paul, and then Ben. So Kevin.
Yes, just to verify that the banner as previously proposed is no longer part of this. Is that correct?
Yes, there's 3
Okay.
signs in the master sign plan I'm applying for.
Okay. My other question is, and I don't know where this fits, would be regarding lighting. I'd be a little remiss to approve lighting, I think, for as part of a master sign plan. I don't know how the others feel about that, but it looks like there's one over the main entrance, which I don't have a problem with, but I think on this building, the other 2 might be a little much since there's only one entrance. Or we just reserve lighting for each application. I'm not sure what the rest of the board thinks, but those are my comments. Thanks.
Well, regarding lighting, is there existing lighting on sign number 2, for example? Do you know?
Can we just look at slide number 6, please? That will show us. I'm sorry,
Thanks.
it's off the top. Yeah, so
Okay,
it does not appear.
No lighting. All right, I think lighting is could be a consideration of the master sign plan, Kevin. That's sort of the purpose, is to identify the global parameters. So if you wanted to include that in a motion, I think that's appropriate. But let's go around and do you have any other comments, Kevin?
No, that's it. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Paul?
I have no comments. I think it's fine.
Great. Ben?
Yeah, nothing to add.
Okay. And I have nothing to add. I think this is well balanced. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll move we approve it as presented without any lights on the left and the right signs,
Great. Do we have a second?
sign locations, I should say.
Okay, thanks. That was seconded. Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Paul
Aye.
and Kevin?
Aye.
Great. So the master sign plan is approved. Let's look at the sign proposed for location 3.
Okay. So we've been through several revisions with this sign. And at this point, I'm feeling like it fully fits in with the guidelines. The logo is less than 15%. There is a border. It's the same size as the sign that's already there for sign number 2. And so I'm feeling like this is an appropriate sign. And we did change the BIG to be all capital letters because last time there was, comments about the I being lowercase, the B being uppercase. So we did change it all to be one.
Okay, thanks.
The gallery is also a serifed font now as well. So it's all fully serifed.
Thank you. So we'll go Paul, Ben, Kevin. Paul?
I think it meets the guidelines, so I don't have any comments. It's not my favorite sign, but it meets the guidelines.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
My
We
turn?
will,
Sorry.
Yes, Ben. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're in a much better place with this sign now. I mean, looking at this graphic in front of us, it looks like everybody's gonna knock their heads on this thing. So I want to make sure that what we're looking at now is not the finished location vertically. Yeah, can we look at slide 8, maybe? Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, if I could comment on that, there are existing bracket holes from a bracket previously there. So it's going to go in the exact bracket like previous location. So it should, which is in line with the sign number 2. So it should be fine.
Okay, yeah, because it looks like the existing tennis loft or whatever, or Macy warehouse blade sign is much higher than that graphic that we were looking at. And almost.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's just, well, it's a little bit hard in that picture to correctly portray the angle, but there are existing holes for the previous bracket. As you can see, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's a better picture.
Okay. Yep. So I think it. Yeah, it's not my favorite sign in the world, but I think it's approvable, and as long as it's not a head knocker, I think we're good.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Kevin?
I really have nothing else to add.
Okay, thanks. I also appreciate the changes that you've made. I think that it brought this sign into compliance with the guidelines. And so I'm in favor. The same concern Ben has, but I think that is just a scale issue there. I think we're seeing it sort of, if the bottom of the sign is at the same height as the bottom of the other gallery sign, we're in good shape.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. There's an instance where the scale is off.
That's from a previous, that's not the current sign we're applying for. That's an old picture, just to clarify.
Right. Okay, great. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Our motion to approve.
Second,
All right, thank you. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben
Aye.
and Paul?
aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And you're here for the next application as well, I believe, right?
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay. So we're at 30A Main Street.
Yeah.
And this is the Cohen Company.
Yeah, this is the Co & Co Photography Gallery. What they're doing here is updating the current sign. It's going to be the same size. Pretty much the only thing changing is the colors and like the overall design, I would say, but it's the same size, same location. On this new sign, they're adding a border. It's going to be black and white. So same font, nothing too crazy, but.
Okay, thanks. We'll go Ben, Kevin, and then Paul. Ben?
Can I see slide 3 again, just the actual sign? Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's a fine sign. I think we need serifs on the font. Is that what the problem is? I think that's what, that would be my suggestion is serifs on the font.
So it
I-
is the same font that's already there. I don't,
I think we've allowed for not sans serif when it's all caps. That
Oh,
was sort
okay.
of a- Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that sign that's there now, I don't know what that printing is below on the bottom there. I don't know what
it says
Much
photography
smaller.
gallery.
that-
But
I can't see it. Yeah.
yeah, it's difficult to
Photo-
see, but it says photography
Photograph
gallery.
I don't know. It's a, yeah, there you go. Well, Chris, if I'll follow your lead on that, if it's all. caps.
it is. Yeah, we did go through that stuff, years ago where
Okay,
the all block letters, so all caps was considered okay. So
okay. Well, in that case, then I'm fine
I
with
think
it.
there's precedent. All right, Kevin?
I have no concerns with the sign. I do, however, have concerns with the vinyl letters that have been applied to the door. And I think that those should be either applied for or removed.
Okay, yeah, that is something that has been up for a while, so I think that is either on the enforcement list or needs to be. But as far as this sign goes, Kevin, you're all right?
Yep.
Okay, and Paul?
I'm fine.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion?
Just to verify that there
Yes.
is no lighting, there is no lighting on this.
There is
None
no lighting.
proposed.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
Move approval.
Second,
Thanks. Thanks, Kevin. Are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben
aye.
and Paul?
All right.
All right, thank you, guys. I'm in favor
Thank
as
you.
well. Okay, now where are we moving next?
We've got 2 more
40.
for 41. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is changing out Lemon Press's existing sign and then adding a second one above the doorway to the stairwell. So we'll start with the existing sign.
Yeah, I know it's a hard concept, but we are proposing to change the Lemon Press sign because they're changing their branding. So they're looking at more of a black and white sign. It's going to be double-sided. There's going to be a border, and they're looking for bold font. So everything is going to be the same.
You said there's a border. How is the border?
If you go to
incorporated
slide
into
5,
this?
it's going to be a beveled border around it.
Okay, will it be painted or is it just?
Yes, the black line there represents the border. It would be it's a little bit thicker, I think, than that, but it would be a beveled black border.
Okay, let's go back to the top. We'll go Kevin, Paul, Ben.
Yes, I have no concerns with the sign. I do, however, have a very big concern about the lighting. We've asked them to turn the wattage down previously, and all that was done is some tape was put over the lights. The lights were lit up all winter long, and based on the guidelines and based on other, recent lighting decisions, I'm in favor of the sign, but I am not in favor of any lighting at this location at all. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Let's hold comments to that. We'll go through the board first. So, Paul.
I have nothing to add. I think Kevin is correct
Okay.
on the lighting.
Ben.
Yeah, I think the sign's fine. I think lighting is an issue. I don't think that, I think that this business should be allowed lighting per the guidelines during business hours, but like we provide for other, businesses, but you know, after hours, if the store is not open, the lights shouldn't be on. So I think that would be a more appropriate, fair option for them.
Thanks. I agree with you guys on all points. I think the sign design is appropriate. But the lighting should comply with the guideline, has to comply with the guidelines. So if the wattage is inappropriate, that needs to be corrected, and it can't be on after hours. So I think that we should include that in our recommendation for approval, but it would also become an enforcement issue if it's not complied with.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we not vote on this until we see the second time?
Well, I think they're independent of each other, two different locations. The second one does include the word lemon press, but it's
It's over another
It's a s-
door. It's not over.
it's a
Door.
different door.
Okay.
I think it's safe to look at each independently, actually, if you haven't seen the view packet. They're
All right.
independent enough, shape and design wise.
Motion to approve with condition to follow the lighting guidelines.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Ben
Aye.
and Kevin
Aye.
and Paul.
Aye.
I agree, and I would just ask that you, if the owners aren't hearing this or watching this later, just please remind them that the lighting is important that they comply with, because it's something that has come under more scrutiny, and they'll be looked at. Thanks.
I will totally communicate that. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so then the next location is the stairwell just up the street.
Yep, it's using an existing bracket that's already there. It's a 12 by 20 double-sided sign. I put the sign below the bracket. It's not where it's going, just because it's hard at that angle to position the sign so you guys can see it. But it is smaller than the lemon press sign that's going up.
And let's just take a look at the close-up of that, like slide 4, I think. Okay. So we'll go Paul, Ben, Kevin.
I have a question. Is this location accessible from the other lemon press store? Or the second-
Sorry, I don't know the exact details of that, but I would not assume so.
So we're looking at this as an independent, if it were an independent business, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any problems.
All right, thanks, Ben.
No, I don't. I actually, at first I thought I was gonna dislike the scale of it, but I just used my handy tape measure here, and it's 12 by 20, and I actually think that's really appropriate for kind of this location. So I appreciate the size that you guys made it. So I'm good.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
No concerns. Again, it's unclear if there's lighting on here, but I think the same provision would apply.
Got it. Well, just to be clear, yeah, there's no lighting, right?
And we're not applying for lighting here. There's no lighting.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I have no comments on the sign. I think it's appropriate. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move
Thanks.
approval.
Okay, we have Paul, actually, Kevin motion. Do you want a second? Paul, so Paul, is that a second?
No, oh, I thought yeah.
Okay, sorry, Kevin beat you to it. So you're seconding. Okay, Ben, are you in favor?
Aye.
Great, Kevin.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
I am as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. So, Community Foundation, and this is on the corner, correct me if I'm wrong, sort of just down from Sophie T's, correct? sort of facing the chicken box parking lot?
No,
Hi, Chris. No, it's on the
No.
other side of the building.
Okay, thanks for correcting me then. I was turned around. All right, well, Margareta, why don't you introduce us to this application since I'm doing a
Sure.
bad job of it?
Yeah, we actually we came before you, I think it's been 3 years since last time we came before you, to just have the sign there. And I think the conclusion from this committee was that the sign wasn't appropriate unless there was an entrance on that side of the building. So the HDC has approved that entrance pretty much as drawn. Lisa Botticelli has the plans all drawn up. So we are back to see if you all would approve the sign over the new entrance. This will probably be done, I'm going to say in the fall, but we don't have a specific timeline for that.
Okay, great. We'll go through the board. We'll do Ben, Kevin, and then Paul. So Ben.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sign above the entrance, and Margareta, can you tell me, is there one other sign on the other side, or how many
Yes.
signs do you have?
Yeah, we do. Actually, we have 3 sides, but the front entrance, which is around like diagonal from Sophie T's,
Right.
there's a sign above our main entrance there.
And where's the third sign?
There isn't a third sign. We have, I say we have 3 sides. We own this
Oh,
corner of the
side.
building. Yeah, 3 sides. Sorry,
Sorry, I thought you said.
I apologize.
All right, so this would be your second sign.
Exactly.
Chris, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you to run the numbers to make sure that our sign balance is correct.
This one's at the maximum allowable size, 20 square feet.
Okay,
So and the other sign would then want to be 20% smaller. But what is the size of the other sign?
It's nowhere near that big, but I don't have the exact stats on that. I could find them quickly. Actually, I was going to say, Sign Nantucket did it for us. If she's still on, did she leave?
You may have checked off.
Let's see, how can I find that?
I think it is quite a bit smaller, Chris, as I remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I can guarantee you it's nowhere near that size, but I just don't know the exact dimensions, Chris. I'm sorry.
that's fine. I mean, 20% would be saying that it's 16 square feet, so which is still a pretty big sign. So I think
Yeah,
if we're
I'm
comfortable
in
with
the
it,
office. I could go try and measure it, but I don't have a ladder.
well, I think this is also the scale of the building comes into play here as well, where this sign is not, even though it's the maximum wall size, to me, it doesn't look like it's, eating up the entire wall or any large portion of it. But so Ben, are you comfortable if
yep,
we're okay?
it appears to
Going
meet
on
our,
to say so.
it appears to meet our guidelines, so,
Yeah, it's not too large. We know that. Okay, thanks. Then we'll go to Kevin.
Just to verify that this isn't lit, I don't believe.
No,
Yeah. Thank you. And also, I have a little concern with, and I'm not sure if I understand this correctly, but I would have a concern if the sign goes up before the door goes in.
no, it would not.
Okay. Otherwise, then I'm good with it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Paul.
yeah, I'm just going to comment. The sign is fine. I'm going to comment as a member of the condominium association board that we've looked at this before and it's fine, but it was based on the fact that if you look at this rendering, there's a fence along parallel to the building that allows one to access this door from over near the top of the stairs. If you go by today and look at it, it's a jungle of trees up there now. So to let you know that I think it's important everybody know that this rendering is what it's going to be, not what it is today.
Very good point. Yeah, there's quite a bit of construction will need to happen and some shoring up of that facade. It may require retaining wall. We don't know yet. And that obviously would be out of the purview of any of us right now. The building department would pretty much deal with that. But we're going to do what it needs to take to actually make that a legitimate pathway to the door to access the building. So a comment for another day. We may be back.
All right, thanks. So, and I have no concerns. I think the scale looks appropriate on the building. Would somebody like to make a motion?
Motion to
Make a
approve.
motion. Motion to
Second.
approve.
Go
Second,
ahead, Ben.
Sorry,
All right, we're gonna give that to Ben. Paul, you got the second. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben,
Aye.
and Paul,
aye.
I am as well. Thanks, Margareta.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
All right. Next, we've got 2 Broad Street, which I believe has several signs that we're gonna be looking at here. This is the old Tacos, Easy Street Cantina. Changing over to Surfside. Do we have anybody on the line to represent this?
Yep, Eamon Banks with Surfside. How are you all doing today?
Very well, thanks. Since we're going to be looking at 3 signs, why don't you just give us sort of your overview, and then we'll start with the first one before us, which looks like it's
It's our mark. It's our
is it the
Surfside.
projecting sign or the wall sign that was up first?
This is the projecting
Okay.
sign. So that projecting sign, we all talked
Yeah.
about 3 weeks ago. And we had all talked about this one and everybody seemed okay with it. We were submitting it again with the whole package. This is a projecting sign where there was a sign, no change in the lighting or anything. So this would replace the old Tacos or sign there. I think everybody was okay with this, but we had a problem with the fence sign that we had on the north elevation and the kind of that surfboard sign. So we're submitting for all 3 different signs. This is going to be the colors, the current colors that is in the palette. If you go down the list, the only problem that we're having is the gold leaf. We would match the color, but gold leaf right now for our sign maker is out.
He's doing gold paint.
So he's doing gold paint rather than the gold leaf. It matches exactly the color. It goes with all of the HDC guidelines of approved paints. So we would ask for you all to give any feedback and possibly approve. I think if I remember correctly, Marissa, I'm here with our CEO, Marissa Casey. We were both on the call last time that everybody agreed that this sign was appropriate and okay, but that you guys didn't like the other signs, which we took into consideration and we changed those up.
Okay, thanks. And I apologize, I was not on that call. So Kevin, you were chairing that meeting?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will, since you can direct the conversation probably better than I, in that case, I'm going to give the chair to you so that we can go through this conversation.
All right. Yeah, I think that we just had a good explanation. Pardon me. Is this the first one up, or let's take a quick look at all of them briefly so that the board could get a sense of the changes you made.
Yep. So what we did is we went with more classic Nantucket quarter board, using the same color palette, which you see on the next slide on number 7. Obviously the change in the gold leaf to gold paint, but still the same color. I think it was the opinion of the HDC board last time that the oval sign that looked like a surfboard was a little bit out of the HDC's what you guys would find appropriate. So we decided that we're on Nantucket. We love it so much. Why don't we just go with what works?
Great. And the third one.
Can I ask a question before
Of
you?
course.
Is that on Broad Street?
Yes, that one's on Broad Street. So that's the main entrance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. In the former application, we had asked to put a fence on the sign. But I believe the comment was it looked too much like a billboard. And then you suggested that I put the sign right where I've put it. So I took your suggestions, going in guidelines with that. I think it's important that, again, we stick with the Nantucket quarter board, which obviously is pretty predominant on the island for all the homes and for a good amount of the businesses being on the strip there. We feel it's important to be able to be visually seen from where you're coming off the ferry. Yep, right on that corner. So having the 2 sides of the building, we're asking for you know, our branding right there, which we've actually gone away from and just gone right with Nantucket's, you know, staples, so that everybody knows that we're there.
Great. Comments. I think we can take them all together if that's okay with everyone. Ben.
I mean, I think this is a massive improvement from what we saw 3 weeks ago, so thank you very much.
No, no problem, guys. Happy to do it.
You know, as long as somebody can remind me that a corner business is allowed 3 signs, I'm comfortable with this. Yeah, I walked by it a number of times, but I noticed that above the door was a perfect place for a sign, and you've done that. So again, thank you very much. I think this is a
Thanks,
great
Ben.
step forward.
Paul.
I think the signs are fine. The only question comes to my mind when I look at this, it's on multiple layers of facade.
I think that that's just the rendering that's doing that right now. So I've got between that bottom bracket and the gutter, I got 16 inches. The sign size is only 8 high, which fits on that bottom row there. It's just hard for us to visualize, for you to see it. We had to make it a little bit bigger.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, yeah, with anything I do, I would never have something tilted or obscure on our facade of our buildings.
I don't have any more comments.
Chris, are you on this? Or
Yeah, I'm happy to chime in. I think my concern was the same. If it's too large to fit on that lower freeze board, I think it would need to be readdressed. So as long as it fits on the freeze board and doesn't project below the bottom of the freeze board, that location is appropriate. And to Ben's comment, it's interesting. I looked up in the corner. It's under wall signs, actually, is where you get the corner provisions. And it's a little bit vague. It says specifically a maximum of 2 signs, but it's talking about 2 wall signs are permitted for a corner lot. So the question could be whether that also allows you to get into a projecting sign, which is allowed in combination with a wall sign. So might be a little bit of a loophole there. I'm not sure how much time we want to spend reading into it, but my other concern is just, are there going to be menu boxes? I mean, this site has been the home of a lot of other signs once it opens up, when the previous businesses were open.
Yeah,
So
I don't have a plan for menu boxes. You know, my menu is going to be, you know, in this new age of digital, where everybody's digital on their menus, they can do online, they can do mobile ordering from their phones to try and relieve any of the lines in there. On the inside, I've got like many places are doing, I've got TVs that have the menu, very, very visible. It's actually on the back wall when you walk in, right where you're ordering. We have, you know, a lot of things so that way I don't like junking up the outside of a building. And I know what you're talking about because I have old pictures when I started doing the improvements on the building, and the old tenant had some really strange things up on the walls there. That's not my intention. My intention is to make this building, actually bring this building back to looking what it's supposed to be like on the corner of that street. And you'll see that in the appropriateness application that I applied for as well. I think we're going to address that on Thursday or next Tuesday, which is giving the outside a little bit of a facelift of some nice white paint on the trim and things like that. But you guys don't want to discuss that today, right?
No, that's not for us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, great. And just to also point out that a sandwich board or a menu. Oh.
Yeah, no A-frames, no nothing on the outside of the building. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, you gotta
Thank
imagine that you're looking at that picture that we're closing that off with a fence as well, so there's no entrance in and out of there. Yeah, I'm not trying to junk it up downtown.
All right. I also think it's a big improvement over where we started. I don't have any concerns with there being 3 signs here. I think we've done that for other occasions where they have a fairly dominant secondary side. So taking all these together, can I get a motion, please?
motion for approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, Ben,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I'm in favor as well. Thanks.
I think they're to be commended on what this looks like compared to what it used to look like.
Yeah,
I think you're all gonna really love what we've got going on down there, really do. I mean, we're excited, we're excited.
great, great.
All right, thank you very much. We'll see you all
Thanks.
down there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Chris.
All right, thanks. Great job. I was happy to be able to make a motion for a change. All right, I think that was the last application, am I right? Oh, no, we have the NHAs. Do we have a representative on the line for this?
Yes, this is Ashley Santos. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Great.
Ashley, what do you have in store for us this year?
Yeah, so these are our temporary signs that we put up each year for our exhibitions. This year specifically, our exhibition is about summer on Nantucket. So just in terms of the signs we've done over previous years, I know last year you guys said you would really prefer us not to use actual photographs for these. So we did stay away from that. And you also preferred us to not use two different types of images, because in the past we've done it's the two banners, and normally one is for one exhibit and another is for another exhibit, but we chose to just do, you know, joining banners in a way, so it's one image just split, so it's not two conflicting images. This image in particular is from a historic tourist poster from our collection. It was very high in saturation, so we really tried to downplay that a bit. So I will say it's definitely toned down quite a bit from the original coloring of the poster. So yeah, again, curious to see what you all think. I know in the past it's taken a few rounds to get this right, but here for any thoughts.
All right, thanks. We'll go Ben, Kevin, Paul. Ben?
Yeah, I think this is great. This is a great direction. I'm gonna give you a very light nitpick here, but the black of the text seems a little harsh in comparison to kind of the softer tones of the image. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm looking at the lighthouse, and the cap of the lighthouse is black, but it just has like a little bit of softness to it. Again, I'm really nitpicking you here, but if the text could just be toned down to a black that's a little more matted, I think it would just blend in a little better. But otherwise, I think this is a great seasonal banners. Thanks.
Thanks, Ben. Kevin?
My first take was I thought it was going to be a little too colorful. However, I think it's appropriate image for this particular exhibit, and it does draw, you know, from an old graphic. So I'm in favor of it.
Okay, great. Paul?
I have a question. What is the name of the exhibit?
Somewhere on Nantucket.
Yep, so the exhibit name is The Summer on Nantucket, A History of the Island Resort. And then
So the feature, on the left-hand image, it just says the featured exhibition is now on view. This might be a personal thing. I'd rather see the name of the exhibition in that sign as well, and take out the words "now on view." I don't think now on view. I don't think that's quite appropriate.
would you keep featured exhibition as well in addition to the title? I think we've just done this because some people might not know what this is representing if they're on the street.
I don't think people are going to look at both of them together like we are. So they're going to see one off to the right or one off to the left, and it just says now featured exhibit now on view. I could be off face, but I think you'd be better off to put the name of the exhibit over there as well.
Okay. I don't think
I
we're
mean,
opposed to that.
I don't think we have to tell the
Let's-
people this is what's on view. That it's on view now. It's like we're open.
My fear with that, Paul, if my weighing in would be if it just said summer on Nantucket, it would sort of it's such a general comment. It would almost be like we're just announcing that Nantucket's open to the public for summer. So I almost appreciate that it's telling you it's an exhibition, as opposed to if it said summer on Nantucket. I just think there is that value to it. Whereas I wouldn't want to see a banner that just says summer on Nantucket. It would almost feel to me like
No,
it's
I think
saying,
it should, I think it
welcome
should
to
say,
Disney World.
I think it should say featured exhibit.
I see. Feature exhibition.
Somewhere on Nantucket. I'm not gonna,
It's a reasonable point. I see what you're saying. Now on view, we don't do a lot of sort of, sale this week only type of signs. So there's a value to that.
that's what it reminds me of, we don't allow open signs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that wouldn't be unreasonable for us to maybe just make the same language on both signs that says featured exhibition summer on Nantucket. I think the history of an island resort, which is kind of like our subtitle, is a bit small and hard to read anyway. So I would probably get rid of that text just because I think it might get lost. We try not to make these too text heavy, so they're still somewhat readable. So is that something you all would be in agreement with on wording featured exhibition summer on Nantucket for both of these side-by-side banners?
Can I throw out an idea? What if on one it had a history of the island resort, sort of in the same scale as featured exhibition summer on Nantucket, and then on the left and keep the history of the island resort, but just in a larger readable font on the right. Would that make sense as far as, so it's not the same sign twice? That's my thought. But Kevin,
Yeah,
you're gonna say something.
2 points. I think it's starting to get a little bit beyond our purview by making decisions as to what a sign can or not say. I also do think they actually read pretty well together, and I appreciate the fact that there is a little subscript telling me about what this exhibit is going to be. So those are my points. I'm prepared to make a motion unless somebody else has one.
I will comment though, Kevin, that where I think Paul's thought was heading, or the way I heard it, if we're looking at now on view as being sort of a precedent setter to allowing the concept of, grand opening this weekend in a different context, the message not being directly related to the exhibit, I think it's worth just considering. So I'm not sure that I understand what you're saying. We shouldn't be designing the sign for the applicant during the meeting, which we're starting to go down that rabbit hole, but to the point that we have the ability to limit what the message is, because our guidelines suggest that we should be focused on identifying the business, not advertising for it. That's what I thought.
True. I would just add that these are temporary banners also. So
Yep. No, it's understood. Let's go around before we make a motion. Let's just make sure all board members' comments are heard. So Ben, did you want to chime back in after these comments?
No, I think the NHA can make the right decision on how they want to handle this text. So I'm good.
Okay, and Paul?
No, I don't have any additional comments to what I said before. I like the signs,
Okay.
banners, I should say.
All right. So we have, go ahead, Kevin.
yeah, just to verify, in the past, I believe we've wanted to verify that there's a bracket or there's a mounting technique to this that we've been following? Is that consistently going to happen?
Yeah, so I know in the past it's been a issue when we use the metal framing that was kind of like really shiny and didn't look good. So we will stick to the same bracketing system we've used, which is a bit hidden. It's just 4 corner brackets. It really doesn't make the sign look like it has a big shiny metal frame around it, which
Right.
it did one year. And I know that you guys didn't like that. So we won't be going back to that. We'll stick to our same mounting system that's a bit more hidden and
Okay.
not so flashy. And I will know, I definitely can take that comment, Ben, of just toning down the black text, because I don't think that is too much of an ask to potentially make that a little more matted, so it blends in with the black already used on the lighthouse.
Great.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Do we have a second?
And if they want to adjust the black, that's fine.
I'll second
Are there
that.
no seconds? Okay, Ben? Paul, are you in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Aye.
Ben?
Aye.
And I am as well. Okay,
Great, thank you, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a preliminary discussion about the Sconset Bluff Walk.
I did have one enforcement thing,
Okay.
if I can.
Actually, I'm sorry, you're right. Enforcement popped up under new business. I thought that was after our preliminary. Let's discuss enforcement, but Billy is not on the line today. So why, Ben, make your comment? I'm not sure we're gonna.
Yeah, and I'll send a
Get the
picture in, but
record.
the corner is Still Dock, and I don't think it's Washington Street at that point, but Patience Killen's little building there has this like mirror sign on it that is really bad, and a bunch of fake flowers that may or may not be in our purview. But if anybody goes by that little building, it's right across the street from Current Vintage. Is that where that little building is?
Yeah.
She tried to get it demolished about a year ago. Yeah, it's got a very inappropriate sign on it that we need to deal with.
Okay,
Awesome.
thanks, Esmeralda. Great,
Noted.
thank you. And did you have anything, Esmeralda, for enforcement, or should we wait for Billy?
I do not have anything for enforcement. I think he just said that send him the pictures and he will follow through with them.
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks. Any other commissioner comments on enforcement?
Nope.
No, okay, great. So is a representative here for the Sconset Bluff Walk?
There was someone logged in that said Sconset Civic League earlier,
I saw them.
but I don't see
I'm
them.
here, Lynn Filipski.
Oh.
So I was logged in by phone and now I'm at my house. So
Okay,
I'm the president of the Sconset Civic Association.
great. Lynn, thanks for joining us. So this is a preliminary discussion, basically just giving us some ideas of what you have in mind and how we can give you feedback to make the best application.
Oh, well, Bill Greeter and I started this conversation.
Prepared for us, so we'll discuss.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Bill Greeter and I started this discussion last year. He's the chair, obviously, of the Roads and Right-of-Way Committee. That the problem out in Sconset on the Bluff Walk is since COVID and thereafter, we have hundreds of people a day walking a very narrow path. And the original intent historically was a sauntering down the pathway, which is lovely, but now you're seeing groups of 10 and more as they go. So up to 600 people on average on a weekday is what neighbors have tabulated. So there are 2 signs there, one at the bottom of the path where it starts at the top of North Gully Footpath, which is right off Front Street. And then the top exit now is terribly shortened from its original intent to go to the lighthouse, gets off before Bayberry. And there are two signs that mainly talk about just the history in lovely small print and the rules for walking on the bluff path are too small and not noticeable to be very useful. So the neighbors who adjoin this and know fully well that legally this path is open to the public with 5 exit points, have found the conversation, the dogs off leash, the amount of trash, and this goes on, it would be more helpful if there was clear signage and perhaps with a QR code that could link you back to the history. So we shared with Bill and his committee what we have on the Seasconset Civic Association webpage, which is a whole page on the Bluff Walk with its history, plus the rules that would be helpful. And none of these rules are actually very new. So the rules that we have are be considerate of neighbors' privacy and keep your voices low.
Hey, Lynn, I'm just gonna pause you real quick. I don't think we need to hear the rules for the Bluff
Okay.
Walk. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No.
we're just here to look at a sign. We don't need to hear the
Okay.
rules.
So this sign would have 6 different rules on it that would emphasize quietness and respect for a historic path. And the sign now is probably 12 inches by 14 max. And it's on a post at the bottom, and it's on a post at the top. And so we're not looking for a bigger sign. We would be replacing the sign, and I assumed it would be through the roads and right-of-way committee, since we don't control the sign. It's also town property. So that all the rules would be on it, but without all the verbiage of how the path started and what the history of the path is, because we feel like a small QR code would be useful.
Okay, so you're looking to not put new signage in, just renovate existing signage in kind
Exactly.
with what's there.
And
Okay,
perhaps even the DPW could help us create a sign that looked fairly in keeping with Sconset. I know probably 2 years ago, we had an application in front of the sign committee, actually having the entrance to Sconset have a sign which follows all the other areas of Nantucket. And I'd be happy to try and keep it in a historic nature with that kind of blue, with a blue border, with a white field, with black type. And that we would just keep it as simple as possible. No pictures on it. There's on one of the signs, there's kind of a vague print of the path, but what would be helpful is a map for exit points that people could refer to so they don't go on private property. But clearly just some rules that would be helpful for people to be respectful of the path.
okay. Let's go around and just get some feedback from the commissioners here. So Kevin?
Yeah, is there any proposed visual at this point, or just discussion?
I was told it was just at a discussion point. We can certainly, for your
Okay.
next meeting, do a mock-up of something.
Okay, great. Couple things. I wasn't aware that we had approved any signs out there originally, not that that is hugely important, but I do think that there is a need here. I would like to see it get some idea of exactly where they're going to go, so they're kind of appropriately positioned and not like a warning sign, too obvious. And I think sticking with with the smaller size, probably no more than, I don't know, Chris, what the rule is, would be for this, maybe no more than 4 feet tall.
I think if we're looking to replace in kind, it would be worth us, I think, a good idea for us to go out and look at the existing signage, if it's just a replacement of the
Yeah,
verbiage. And so, yeah, I wouldn't want to see anything larger than what exists, and we should just go make sure that what exists is appropriate, not precedent setting for the next applicant.
Yeah.
So,
The Sconset Market will be open in a week, so you'll be able to get a sandwich and look at the signs and do the path. So I'm happy. I'll be back on island a week from Friday, and I'd be happy to send pictures if you don't have time to go before that. But we can certainly provide the geolocation, and I can just take it from the town GPS site, and then I can have photographs. Actually, I have someone from the board who's already on island who could do this for me this week. So if you need it quicker, I'm happy to do that. But yes, we would keep the sign in keeping with what is already there in terms of size and the height on the post. I will say, if you take the path, you'll see a very, very large sign that the DPW put in a year ago saying, watch for tree roots, from a very big sign that's on the original Wade Cottage property. And I don't think you would approve of that sign whatsoever because it's very large.
yeah, well, it would be great if you could send a photograph of
Okay.
that, because the town is also to be, following the guidelines. So
Yes.
if it's inappropriate, it should be taken care
So
of.
should I send all the pictures to Esmeralda so that she can circulate it to all of you?
I think, what would be good, let's just go through, I'm going to continue through the board. But my first thought here is that it's really, unless there's any reason that this application shouldn't be brought before us, that you should put together an application that would include photographs, locations, sizes, and the proposed text, and then we can make a formal review. But I'm going to go through the board members first and just make sure that there's no other information you should have before making that application. So, Paul?
Yeah, Chris, I agree with you. I think this is probably fine. I don't see any problems conceptually with it. Question though, for Lynn, you said there were 4 or 5 exits from the path?
Yes.
Identified?
They're identified by the Roads and Right-of-Way Committee with a very small stone marker that's embedded in the grass. So there's no disruption in the visual of the path.
That's fine. I only asked that kind of personally, because when you walk along, you want to make sure you're not going through somebody's yard where you shouldn't.
Yes. And I'm sure the people who are going through people's lawns are just confused. Or they're just very tired and they've had enough. And so
that was probably me.
it. No. And that is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Great, thanks, Ben.
Yeah, I think we're talking about public safety signs, so I think everything's going in the right direction. You might want to add a beware of poison ivy.
Yeah. If I'd read everything, the last point was native vegetation includes poison ivy and watch for ticks.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay, I agree with that. So yeah, no, I think this will be fine. I think we just need to see the visuals.
Yeah, and I think the QR code, which will give a history, a geologic and historical, cultural, what was the intent of the path to start with, is very interesting. And although I don't want anyone using their phone for conversation, in this day and age, your phone is always in your pocket. And if that gives them a better sense of history, then we've done our job in being a cultural center for Sconset in terms of sharing that information.
Absolutely. The QR codes provide a lot of information without a lot of visual clutter.
Right.
So that's a good idea. All right, well, Lynn, I think the consensus is that you should put the application together, so you don't have to come back for any preliminary discussions, just
Okay,
present it. You know, a complete application would want locations, using a map that you print out from the town's website's fine, just mark the locations on that. Give us sizes and graphics and materials, and then we'll go through the formal review process.
okay, great. That would be great.
So thanks for your presentation today.
Well, it's very informal. So Bill just told me to log on because you would be discussing it and share what we've talked about over the winter.
Great. Well, I think general feedback seems pretty positive. So
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
thank you. And I believe that is the last item on our agenda. One thing I will say today, I'll be attending the full HDC's meeting for discussion of when our various terms are going to be expiring and how they intend to extend those, advertise for new positions, just because as part of the reconstitution of our board, it was, we were sort of extended with the understanding that they would come up with a formal process, perhaps having to send that to the select board for approval. But anyway, I'm going just to represent us tonight to hear the proceedings. But the idea is to extend our terms for all those of us interested, and also apply or let people know they can apply to join. So I'll report back at our next meeting.
Chris, I noticed that piece of the meeting is at the very end of the agenda. Esmeralda, is that how it's going to play out?
That is correct. It's at the end of the agenda. I don't know what the chairman's, if he's going to amend the agenda at the meeting to move it forward. They're trying new things to try to expedite the meeting, to make them more efficient. So I don't know if you've noticed, there's no longer public comment or commissioners' comments because it takes up time. So it is at the end of the agenda. So they're trying to allocate the last 30 minutes of the meeting for any discussion. So if it's not heard at the beginning, it'll be heard at the end, which will be anywhere between 8 and 8, at 8 o'clock, I should say, because the meeting does end at 8:30.
Okay, so I might reach out to the chairman just to see if he anticipates that changing, but.
Yeah, because I'll be there at 4 for hope the consent item goes through. So I could be there if it's at the beginning, but I'm not gonna stick around till 8. Sorry.
Okay, well, they actually did say that did not violate any open meeting laws. No more than 2 of us can attend.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
So just let it be me and Ben, I guess will be my point.
Or if anybody else shows up, I'm happy just to leave, or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't need
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna have a whole lot of input. I think it's more just letting the board go through their formal process they need to, is my understanding. But in any event, if more than 2 of us show up, we'll have to have somebody just step out of the room so we don't violate an open meeting law.
Okay.
All right, so would somebody like to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thanks, Kevin.
Aye.
And Paul.
Aye.
Ben.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Esmeralda.
Thank
Good day,
you,
everybody.
everyone.